Hi, Joe Coffey here for PremierGuitar.com, hanging out at the Dean booth with the man himself, Dean Zelinsky. Dean, tell me about this new Distress series.
Okay, well, last year we came out with the it was our 30th anniversary. We came out with the 77 series reissues, which basically has the original Big Dean headstock, which everybody was clamoring for the last 10 years, actually. They had double cream coils and also the red dots, which red side markers, which the original Deans came with. This year, we kind of took it up a notch. This is what that same 77 ML would look like 30 years later if it was played hard. So this is what we call the distressed version. And I don't know, you probably get the...
Ask me what they look like 30 years later. I played one 30 years ago.
Hold on, Harry.
How are you doing, sir?
Here's the original.
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Elliot Easton of the Cars.
One of the first Dean endorsers.
Probably the first Dean ML endorser.
Yeah, that's right.
He
tried it in a store in Boston.
Right.
I just called the next day.
Right. Elliot played it backwards.
No, I didn't.
Left-handed.
The rest of the world is backwards.
I'm left-handed, but I just play guitar backwards, right-handed. But anyway, great to see you.
Good to see you, Dean. I'm sorry.
This will be like a minute.
Resist.
No, listen, it's unbelievable. Don't leave.
I'm not.
You gotta love NAMM. You never know who's gonna pop up. You never know.
So, anyways, this is how that same guitar would look 30 years later, 31 years later. But actually, this one is brand spanking new.
It looks 30 years old. Tell me about the distressing process. How do you make a guitar look this old? I mean, you've got the metal. Everything looks really distressed.
Well, it's one of those things we can't talk about. but it is an art form to do it.
Yeah.
And we have top-notch people who know how to do this. But literally, you have to antique the pickups, all the hardware, even the binding gets way yellowed. Finish cracks, distress, and if you take a brand new guitar and you chip the paint off of it, it looks kind of bright. It doesn't look like it's 30 years old. So it really is an art form to do it, and this is the result. We're also making it in other models. The unique thing is you can actually
the new Soltero.
You could actually buy a Dean Soltero, which looks like it's 30 years old too, but these came out last year. So you might. A lot more rock stars are picking up on the Soltero.
Well, I've got you here. Tell me more about the Soltero. I remember when this came out last year, it was a completely new thing for Dean, but a lot of guys are really digging this guitar.
Right. Well, thanks. It's quite a challenge to come up with a conservative Dean, because we're anything but conservative. Yeah. But I kind of had this guitar in mind for a couple years, and it was really about this interesting carve. I envisioned it in my brain, and I had a couple high-level artists approach me who wanted, I want a single cutaway. The biggest being Leslie West, who was kind of known for that guitar that he got famous on. And I said, Leslie, I got this idea, let me get it done. And I finally just drew the guitar and showed it to him, and then we took it from there and actually made the real carved edition. So it's pretty exciting. I mean, it's picking up.
I think it looks great in the Mahogany series too.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with that. My personal, I like an all black one. That's what I play. But the guitar is really kind of like coming into its own right now. It takes a little while for the general public to know that we have them, but right now it's kicking in high gear. I think it's going to be a huge show for the Soltero.
Very cool.
The other thing that we do have is we do have two imported versions. We have one made in Korea, which is new at the show, and we have another one that we're making in Japan for the Japanese market, and now we're importing those into the United States. So we really have three models. If somebody really likes the USA but really can't, the pockets aren't quite that deep, the Japanese is a great alternative. It's a great playing guitar, a great sounding guitar, and it's almost there.
Very cool. So. Well, Dean, thanks a lot for your time, man.
Joe, always a pleasure.
All right, man. We'll see you again soon. There you have it, Dean Zelinsky. I'm Joe Coffey. You're tuned in to PremierGuitar.com.